Good morning and welcome back. We're out here in the wreckers looking for some bits and pieces for a couple of our projects. It's a little cool this morning, but it's not bad actually, all things considered. So we're going to see what we can find and hopefully we get what we need. I mentioned it before, but when I say this is a pretty common issue, it's a pretty common issue because what we're looking at here, this is a 72 or so Dodge Demon. As you can see, someone's already fixed that one at one point or another. So we'll keep looking. So after hiking around for a bit, which in the snow sucks, I found not one but two dusters here. I looked at a lot of other A bodies, a lot of Dart Sports, Valiants, but I finally found what we were looking for. Now, for whatever reason, it seems to be that these cars, the dusters, they weren't afflicted by the broken door jambs as much. So we'll cut that out of there. I know what you're saying. Well, why don't you just buy the ones from Classic Industry? But just actually, this duster's kind of cool because it's a twister. So I looked into the ones from Classic Industries, and what I quickly found is they didn't have any in stock. So it would have been order now and eventually get them. And see, this one's pooched. Kind of cool car though. It had a console at one point. So if you ever want to put a console in one of these cars, that's what the bracket looks like. But the orange car here has what we need. Let's give you another view of this twister. Oh. Actually, this side's good too. So if I really wanted to, I could cut that one out and take it for a spare. And then here's the other half of the twister stripe where it comes down to the fender duster. Pretty cool, eh? Okay, welcome back. So one of the things we're going to cover that needs to be done on the Dart are the door strikers. Now, it's a pretty common problem on Mopar A bodies in general for the door strikers over time to basically fatigue and crack. So chances are by now, if you're buying an A body, they've either been repaired or they require being repaired. So there's a couple ways to go about fixing them, but I've chosen just to go ahead and replace them as opposed to repairing them. In my case, I found a couple of options that you can go ahead and do this. I believe it's Classic Industries or it's Year One that produces a kit that you can install on the car that corrects it, or you can buy the whole pillar section from AMD if you want to go that route. In my case, I went to the wreckers and found a couple of A bodies that were a little bit later. However, as you know, for the most part, when it comes to Dodge Darts, 67 right up to 76, everything interchanges for the most part. There's very minor changes on some panels, but what I've been able to find will work in this application anyway. The door jambs and the door strikers appear to be exactly the same. However, it looks like Chrysler recognized the issue and found a way to correct it as well on their end. I did notice that later A bodies do not seem to have the same issue. I chalked it up as just being coincidental that they don't have the same issue as the earlier cars. However, it appears that Chrysler had a fix for it. So I'll show you that in a bit. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody out with their A body, and hope you enjoy. So at this point, all I've really done is clean up all the pillar area here, and I just threw a quick coat of primer on it, just to keep everything from flash rusting. So as you can tell, previously, this has been repaired more than once. So what I'm going to do is I'll cut this out, and then we can have a good in-depth look at it on the bench. So at this point, I've gone ahead and cut it out. I mean, there really isn't much to that. Okay, so let's have a quick look here. So this is the original striker piece that came out of the car, right? You can see it had been brazed and welded and brazed and what have you. So on the back side, this is what it looks like. Right? So it's this steel cage that's spot welded to the panel. And then through that is the steel plate your striker actually bolts to. So we'll just take this apart. So we take this out of here. You can see the hole's all elongated and everything. But if we flip this over, we can pop this out. So this is what actually holds the door striker into the pillar, right? So as you can see, if we take our screwdriver here, right here there's one little spot weld, and right here there was one little spot weld. If we flip them over, you'll see that the spot weld lines up with this hole here, right? So you can kind of see it right there. So there wasn't a lot that supported these from the factory. So what I have here, this is the passenger side. This is out of a 71 Duster Twister. And the first thing you'll notice is, because you can see it on the panel, so this is the original paint. There's a spot weld here, there's one here, there's one here, and there's one there. There's 4. And if I flip the panel around, you'll see why. From the factory, they welded a plate in here, right? So you had extra support. Then they took this plate that retains the adjustable section inside here, and they spot welded it in 4 places. Here, 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 and here. So this is what Chrysler did to go ahead and correct the issue they were having, where over time, this style of plate here, the opening and closing of the door was actually causing fatigue, especially as over time things like the door pins would wear, the door rubbers that are supposed to stop it from contacting the body, all your rubbers that are supposed to be in here, right? You can see even this door pin actually has wear on it. So over time, that all led to this fatiguing. With only 2 little spot welds in there and nothing to keep it from pulling out, almost every one of them ended up destroyed like this. So Chrysler went ahead and corrected that issue for us. So this is what I ended up bringing back from the scrapyard with me. You can see I marked them with what they came out of. So this side came out of a 71 Duster Twister. This one came out of a 74 Dart Sport. These two came out of a 72 Duster. And this set here came out of a 76 Dart SE. So I probably don't need to explain it for the guys who are big into A bodies, but essentially these two cars would have been sold on the dealer's lot at the same time. Now the Dart Sport used the same roof line and basic shell as a Duster, but with the Dart front clip. So kind of neat. Whereas the Dart, and in this case this one was a special edition because it was a 1976, so this was like a top trim Dart coupe. It used the same body style as that car. So just kind of a little bit of history anyway. So these are the ones we're going to use in this car just because they're in really nice condition. I know what you're saying. Well, nice condition, they're all full of rust and stuff. But really a little bit of surface rust like that is not anything I can't handle. All that'll just get cleaned up and coated before it goes on the car. So basically, because it came out of another Dart, we already knew it was going to fit pretty good. So obviously it has all the same contours and shapes, and right here is where it wants to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim this up and clean it up inside and out, and then we'll prepare and get it so it's ready to be welded in here. Okay, so it's all cleaned up and this is all trimmed out. So now we're ready to go ahead and weld it in there. So what I'll do is I'll get a couple tacks on it and we'll go from there. So at this point it's all tacked in here. That kind of gives you an idea here of what we're working with. So the whole idea here is, obviously I'm going to do this on both sides, and when I weld them in, I just slowly fill in all around here with spot welds, just until it's all filled up. That way when we grind it down, it'll be nice and smooth. And it won't be all warped up. So, I won't bore you with that, but I'll show you what the product looks like after it's all cleaned up. Okay, so at this point I've gone ahead and I've got this side in. And while I was at it, so these two here, the one up at the top and this one here and that one, and there's one back here. So there's holes from rust proofing plugs, and I figured, you know what, now's the time to fix those two. So I'd do the other three on the other side, but so we've got our donor striker assemblies in, and as soon as I find a striker, here we go. So now we actually have adjustment for the door. And because of the nice thick plate that Chrysler added to them, we know that that won't be an issue in the future. So we'll go ahead and I'll dress all this stuff down tomorrow, and we'll move on from there. Show you the other side quick here. So other than the two spots which I mentioned I gotta go back and fix, so this side turned out. You know, it's not perfect, but there's no pinholes or anything in it. And a little bit of skim of filler and block it down, and it'll be, well, a lot better than it was anyway. Okay, so you're saying to me, well, Nick, that's fine and well if I can find OEM, you know, door latch strikers and the section of pillar that they go on, but what if I can't? Well, here's another solution. I just made this up just for kind of a template. This is how I would do it if I didn't have a good set. So we have our original striker, and what I've done is I've taken a piece of, I'm trying to think here, this is either 14 gauge or might be 3/32 steel. I took my original inner plate that holds your striker. I welded it to this plate, right? And then what you would do is, this would be your outer skin of the actual door pillar itself. You'd take and you'd drill probably 4 holes in it, and you'd spot weld it or plug weld it onto this plate. And then what you would do is, of course, insert this from the inside so it comes up, and then you just butt weld this piece in here, right? That would give you your pillar. And just like the original, I back it off a little bit here just because I tightened it up, you would still have your adjustment. Right? You'd be able to move this around to adjust your doors. So again, that's another alternative to this repair that, again, is very low cost. So with any hope, this video will go ahead and help somebody save another A-Body Mopar. So thank you for watching, and if you found this useful, interesting, or enjoyable, hopefully you consider like, comment, or subscribe, and we'll hopefully see you again.